Hey everyone, imagine being teleported to another world and becoming the hero of that place after defeating evil. After that, you reincarnate and return to your normal world, but when you reach a certain age, you're sent back to the world where you became a hero. Crazy, right? That's exactly the story we'll see in today's anime. But, before we start, hit that like button and subscribe to support the channel. Let's go. For the recap, the anime begins with Yuki talking to his childhood friend at school. He tells her not to get too close, as others might think the wrong things. She says she doesn't care and offers to cut his hair since it's quite long. Yuki agrees, and she becomes really happy, saying she'll make him look handsome. While they're talking, the weather outside turns dark, and a magical circle appears in the center of the room. Soon, it emits a bright light, and Yuki looks at it as if he already knows what it's about. After that, all the students in the room are teleported to another world. As soon as they appear, they are attacked by armored demons. When Yuki is about to be attacked, his friend Yuhi jumps in front of him to save him, but as she hugs him, he simply obliterates the demon with just the tip of his finger. Then, human soldiers appear and start fighting the demon. The students take cover, and a knight finds them, telling them to leave immediately as it's a war zone and very dangerous. Next, they are taken to the king, who receives them as heroes from another world. The king explains that his kingdom is being invaded by demons, and like 5 years ago, they summoned heroes from another world to help. Yuki finds this moment strange, as for him, much more time has passed, maybe around 15 years. The princess asks them to help with the demon problem, and the students have no choice but to accept, fearing they'll be expelled from the castle if they refuse. After that, they start training with swords and magic. Although most of them struggle, Yuki's friend Yuhi manages to use magic on her first try. Yuki observes from a distance and says she has a talent for magic. While he watches, the instructor asks why he's been skipping classes since the first day. He addresses her by her name anyway, and she says it's disrespectful of him to do so. She adds that his arrogant attitude reminds her of the hero from 5 years ago. Little does she know she's talking to the same person. Then, she tells him to go back to training, and if he doesn't, she'll force him to, even if she has to use brute force. Yuki finds this interesting and challenges her to come at him. She rushes towards him, but he easily dodges and playfully taps her on the spot you see right there. She's completely flustered, and Yuki asks if she remembers now that she took the hit. After she remembers who he is, her attitude completely changes. She kneels before him and calls him Setsusama, his former name. At this moment, we discover that the girl is a crazy masochist and begs him to use her as a chair. Look at her crazy ideas. She's so manic that after he sits on her, she asks if he lost weight. He replies that he's in a different body now and comments that it's kind of creepy she noticed. She responds that she feels happy serving him and is thrilled to have her master back. In his thoughts, he says her masochism has gotten worse than before. At that moment, a knight arrives and asks why you guys haven't subscribed to this channel yet. Subscribe now. Actually, he asks what on earth they are doing there. Elka explains to Glenn, the knight, that the one before them is Setsu, who has returned after 5 years. Glenn is surprised but believes it when he sees how Elka is acting. Later, while talking to his former companions, he reveals that in his last battle against Toma, the villain of that world, he ended up reincarnating as a baby in his original world. And now, for some reason, he has been summoned again. After talking a bit, he goes to check on Yuhi, who is making great progress with magic. He tells her that she might have talent for magic. She's a bit worried about using that magic for war, but says she'll do anything to protect Yuki. His old companions come to talk to him and explain that they'll probably have a war, and unfortunately, they couldn't avoid it. Yuki says it's not a problem since there's no other alternative. He declares that he will end the war once again and make that world peaceful. His companions offer to go with him, but he refuses, saying he needs people to protect his city if Toma, his old enemy, gets involved. The next day, they camouflage themselves and try to enter the treasure room. Inside, he takes his old sword, named Kuramu. After that, he prepares to leave. But before he goes, his friend Yuhi arrives and asks where he's going. He explains to her that this is the second time he's been called to that world, and now he's going to meet someone he knows to stop the war that's plaguing that world. Yuhi starts crying and asks to go with him, but he declines, saying it's too dangerous for her. He adds that he's doing this so she won't be in danger. At that moment, she agrees to stay but tells him to close his eyes because she has something to give him before he leaves. He does as she says, and just when it seemed like she was going to give him a kiss, she disappoints us and uses wind and fire magic to give him a funny hairstyle. Yuhi says that while he's away, she'll work hard in her training to help him protect that world together with him. And after that, Yuki embarks on his journey. Later, we see a girl traveling in a carriage, apparently carrying some merchandise. At some point during the journey, the horse stops and refuses to continue on the path. Just then, a giant boar attacks them. The carriage overturns, and the girl is thrown off. As she falls, she drops a box containing some kind of brooch. She becomes very worried and goes to retrieve it. Once she recovers it, she calmly puts it away as if there weren't a gigantic boar about to charge at her. At that moment, she faces the boar and starts talking to it, telling the creature that she's all bones and wouldn't be a good meal for it. Before the boar could attack her, our protagonist appears and saves the girl. When she sees him, she mistakes him for a bandit trying to steal her money, but she tells him that she needs the money to deliver her cargo. Yuki says he doesn't want money, he was just passing by. He adds that if she's safe, then it's alright. He says he's leaving, but as he starts walking away, she asks if he would consider being hired as her bodyguard. She says she can pay a lot of money. He declines at first, saying he doesn't need money. However, she makes a cute face, and he ends up accepting, but he tells her he won't carry her merchandise, which disappoints her. The most important thing for her, though, is that brooch she picked up earlier. She says she won't show it to him, even if he becomes her bodyguard. They continue their journey and finally arrive at a city. Yuki is impressed by how much the city has changed during the 5 years he was away. The girl looks for ships to go to the demon continent, but all the boatmen refuse, citing the war period and the danger of going there. She becomes desperate, and at one point, some guards approach her. They see she has a merchant's license and get angry because even during war, all they care about is making money. They ask to inspect her bag, but she refuses, as the brooch she's protecting is in there. The guards get irritated by her disobedience and attempt to hit her. But before they can strike, Yuki steps in and tells them to stop bothering her since they have no permission to inspect civilian. The guards consider attacking Yuki, but seeing that many people are watching, they decide not to do anything for now and give up. After that, a large black shadow is shown in the water, and soon you'll find out what it is under the water. They then go to eat, and Yuki asks what she'll do since no one wants to take her due to the ongoing war. Yuki tells her he'll take her there, and from the beginning, he had the intention of going there. But to take her, he has one condition: she must spend the night at an inn and rest since she has already exerted herself too much. She agrees, but her stingy side kicks in, and she asks Yuki to split the cost of the room at the inn. They go there, and Yuki takes a bath, telling her she should go after him. She goes, but before she does, she leaves her brooch with Yuki, saying she trusts him to keep it safe. Seeing the brooch, Yuki remembers that he bought it in the past. Meanwhile, Ruri explains to him the history of that brooch. Before her grandfather passed away, he received one last commission as a craftsman. A customer asked him to repair that brooch, but he passed away before finishing the job, and Ruri ended up completing what he had started. She promised she would deliver it back to the owner, which is why she's doing all of this to get it to its rightful owner. After she explains, she goes to take a bath, leaving Yuki with the brooch. He examines it and realizes it's the same brooch he bought a long time ago in his other life. But he doesn't understand how it got broken, as he had cast a strong protection spell on it. Later, they go to sleep. During the night, those horned guards return and ask about the whereabouts of the merchant and her guard. They reach the room and accuse them of associating with demons. Yuki takes Ruri and starts running away from the guards. They chase them until they reach a dead-end location. But then, they remember that large dark shadow in the water from earlier. Now, we find out what it really is. Yuki grabs the girl and jumps into the sea from up high. But before he hits the water, a gigantic creature catches him. Yuki calls it Levia, short for Leviathan, the king of the seas. Apparently, the giant monster has been Yuki's companion for a long time. Riding on Levia, Yuki and Ruri head towards the demon continent. They spot the continent, and that's where today's video ends. So, did you like the beginning of this anime? Let us know what you think down below. Also, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to show your support. I've also included an amazing video for you at the end. It tells the story of Yuya, a chubby guy who, after going to another world, comes back with legendary powers and all buffed up. Seriously, guys, no exaggeration, it's one of the best anime from this spring season. You really should go check it out. Alright, then, see you.